Hi everybody and welcome back to our Rivercrest Resilience program. This is week 2 and this week we'll be exploring self-explanatory styles and looking at what is it that we say to ourselves to explain when things go badly. Just to recap, we've been talking about resilience in the context of the ability to bounce back from negative emotional experiences and by flexible adaptation to the changing demands of stressful experiences. We looked at the close relationship between resilience and optimism, and today we'll take that a little bit further, looking at what is it that we say to ourselves when things go wrong. Are we optimistic in our self-talk or are we pessimistic? As always, our goal for this program is to teach students the skills to be as proactive in resilience building as possible, to move away from that red zone of reacting when things go badly to building some strategies and pathways to deal more proactively when challenges or change occur. Our key question today is looking at when something goes wrong, what do we say to ourselves? It's looking at this idea of self-talk, and that by focusing on an optimistic self-talk, we can greatly improve our chances at resiliency. So research by Martin Seligman suggests that we have a habitual way of explaining what happens when things go wrong, and that there are 3 distinct types of way that we explain the problem. And this can be a positive experience or a negative experience. And the first is to look at whether we classify things as internal or external. Internal events mean that the cause of the success or the problem was solely just us, our own brilliance or our own failure. Or externally is that there were other circumstances operating on us as well. Perhaps it was a collection of things that caused the problem or a collection of things that helped with the success. The second category is stable and unstable, and where we lie along this continuum. If an event is deemed or a problem is deemed stable, then it can't be changed. It's permanently a success, permanently a failure. If it's unstable, we might be able to celebrate that this is successful for the moment, but then the hard work needs to happen to continue. Or that something's gone wrong, but that doesn't mean that it will always be the case, that things aren't set in stone. And the final last category of self-talk or self-explanatory style is looking at global versus specific. On the global end of the spectrum, when something goes right or something goes wrong, it's global. It affects every different part of life. It's pervasive. It can be that you win something and that you're the greatest in that field, or that you have a loss and it's a resounding defeat. The specific end of the spectrum talks about that perhaps it's just that one event. It isn't pervasive in all areas of life, and it can be contained and it isn't global. So Seligman's argument is that when we look at how we explain the cause of problems, that we should eventually push ourselves towards the right end of the continuum, towards external, unstable, and specific. This teaches us to be more optimistic and allows us to deal with challenges and change in a more positive way, so that things aren't permanent and pervasive, rather they can be unstable and specific. So our home activity for this week is to reflect on that idea of self-explanatory styles, and to reflect on a recent situation where something went great or really bad, and I encourage you to do this with your children. How did you explain that event to yourself? What was your explanatory style like? And do you need to encourage yourself or your children to be more optimistic? This could be something really small like a win at sports or dance, or it could be something like progressing in their reading, or something that you do as a family. So I encourage you to reflect on those 3 key continuum ideas and look at how we explain events with our children. Well, I hope you found that useful this week on our Rivercrest Resilience program. Next week we will explore the idea of gratitude and how living a grateful, appreciative life has a strong correlation with being a resilient learner and a resilient person. Have a great week.